Hello, welcome to another episode of Mega Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, and today we are talking about One Piece. Chapters 1052 is the newest one that just came out. We have a whole lot to talk about, and I've got my buddy Francesco with me. Francesco, you want to introduce yourself, man?
Hey, hi Jason. How you doing? I'm
Good, good.
Francesco. I'm a writer for the comic section of Screen Rant. Sorry if my voice is a bit low today. Gonna go for my husky version for this podcast. Apologies, but yeah, I love manga and especially One Piece, and I am always happy to discuss it with my friends here. So let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're both writers from Screen Rant. I write for the video game news, and my buddy Francesco here writes for the comics section. We've just been very excited to talk about One Piece because it seems like Wano is done. Even in the latest chapter, we got kind of a week forward, and everyone's gotten a chance to heal from the horrendous wounds that they sustained during the raid. There's just so many. They just fit. Oda fits so much information in these last couple chapters. Some big moments that really stood out for me is we finally got Momonosuke's adult form and his amazing speech. We got more backstory with Tama really realizing that it's over. Like everything, the years of suffering and being starving, and Luffy fulfilled the promise he made when they got there. They'll be able to eat as much as they need every day. And it made some tears leak out of my face, Francesco. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's all 1051 really, and that's even going without the newest one. But
Yeah, I feel like because the arc was so long, Oda kind of felt the need to remember people why this commitment was so important. What was the reason behind all this? Because you had obviously two different levels. One was we need to take down Kaido because he's in the way of what we want to do and all of that. But you also had the level of there is a country that's being oppressed by a tyrant, and he turned that into basically a hellish landscape. So the second part, sorry, was maybe harder to, remember people about because, of course, everyone was focusing on the big fight against Kaido and whatever. So Oda really wanted, I think, to remember everyone why these all happened in these last couple chapters.
Yeah, it's just kind of reminding the stakes and just really adding to the breadth of relief that this whole country can have. And just kind of thinking back, I mean, they had time to breathe, which is the first time that they've been able to do that after a huge arc. Like Dressrosa, they instantly had to run away from the Marines, and then after they got away, we established the Straw Hat Fleet and all that goodness. But I just feel like Wano did such a better job of building all of these side characters and their struggle. And I don't know, Dressrosa is definitely a pretty close one with how bad the citizens had it. Especially, I mean, the people of Dressrosa didn't quite realize it because the doll, I forget the name of the fruit, but it turned people into dolls and made people forget that those people existed.
Yeah, that was the most horrible thing, I guess.
Yeah, but the thing is about that is like it's horrible to the people who know about it, but for those people who just suddenly like, oh, I remember my loved one and they're here because it's been dispelled. Okay, this is a decent happy ending for everybody involved at Dressrosa. Wano, everyone's been actively suffering, and even the people who are laughing are suffering on the inside. Like, it was just Oda really knocked out the tragedy of Wano, so it just made the celebration just it felt, I could feel it in real life. Like, I just happy that this arc is over, but also just happy that all these imaginary characters are happy. But what was that?
We still have to see the actual celebrations.
Yeah.
That's coming, I guess, the next chapter. The party.
Yeah, and who knows? It seems like we might have an admiral crash the party, but we definitely got parts of the celebration here. We got everyone hanging out in the sauna. We got the official. We shall refer to Yamato as he, and it's just I love the panels of. Chopper and Yamato hugging Luffy and Zoro after they've woken up. I've seen some of the content creators bring up, and I totally agree with. This is just like Zoro and Luffy are just so perfectly in synced in this chapter. Like they've always been, really close, but just they're pretty much doing the same exact. The minute they wake up, they both need their vice. I need meat. I need booze. And, it was just a lot of fun to see Zoro get back up, and especially his banter with Sanji was probably my favorite bit of the new chapter because
it's just in the background of a panel, but it tells you a whole story. That's how good Oda has become in fitting everything into whatever, it's like 19 pages.
It's kind of one of those things where I'm excited for them to add way too much drama to that moment in the anime because I could see Zoro just like putting his drink down and suddenly flashing back, just like Sanji said after I'm finished, I need you to kill me. Oh, that's right. And then I doubt we'll get some cool dramatic fight scene between the two of them, which I'm even more curious to see now that Sanji has a unbreakable body and Zoro is as ridiculously powerful as he always is. But I love that little banter. They had their closest, I think, we might ever get to like a bro moment when Sanji trusted Zoro during the raid, because he was afraid of what he was transforming into. So he was saying, hey, I need you to do me a favor. And that all just came to a head here, and I really enjoyed how Oda did that, and he just did it with the littlest amount of details possible. Another thing, just Momonosuke, the future shonen the future shogun of Wano, is I loved how chapter 151 ended. Where we once again got almost Oda talking to the audience, talking about how Momo
the future would be.
Yeah.
The future would be. That's something he does only for the most important moments. So yeah, that was really, really significant. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, for me, as soon as I started reading those words, it was just like, okay, yeah, I think that's solidifying that Kaido and Big Mom are not jumping out of the volcano. We're not getting some video game final form mixture of both of them. Like this is it. And it was
people seem to love trying to convince themselves that this is going to happen. And I really don't understand why. Just they keep saying, like, a lot of people on the internet keep saying that it's just not happening. Anyways.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. I'm just like, how can it end any bigger than it did? Like, it is done. And as much as I would love to, get more details on some other things, one thing I was kind of disappointed about was, as much as I just said earlier about how great it was to see Luffy and Zoro together. Zoro had, the Grim Reaper above him. He almost he's come to the closest to death as possible. And I was kind of hoping for a little bit more on that, but I think it's just going to be Oda just adding that in there and then not adding any extra context for it.
We will get it when we least expect it, how it worked, right? It's going to come back in the future because that scene was just, it wasn't random. It was just too specific to be just, a throwaway thing. So
yeah, a glimpse into the One Piece afterlife. which, yeah, it's something that I think a lot of shonens usually do. By the end of it, we've met, the god of that series, and the afterlife, and people have come back from life and stuff like that. But yeah, Luffy and Zoro woke up at the same time, so I guess Zoro went through the same amount of trouble as Luffy did, essentially, is kind of how I'm feeling from here. But I would have loved to have seen more of those effects. I mean, I remember we go back to Thriller Bark and what Zoro went through at the end of Thriller Bark, and he was down for. I mean, he was weakened even the next arc at Seabody against Kuma. Thank you. It almost makes it so their struggles are more prominent if it's clear that they had lasting damage. Essentially, I was just feeling like Zoro should have had more. They made it seem so dire that I was really expecting more consequence for Zoro.
Which maybe will come, maybe that's the meaning of that vision or whatever, that at the worst possible time we will learn that, he has permanent damage or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point. But then again, Chopper is such a gosh darn good boy. He's good at healing, so he may have fixed that. But yeah, I'm hoping that we get some more of that. And as we said in the newest chapter, it ends with an admiral showing up. So
yeah,
we think the party's going to get trashed. But
the one we all have been waiting for.
Exactly, and it's just wild. Like everything we've seen from all the characters, like how powerful everybody is now. Like I really can't imagine how one admiral is going to be, able to. I mean, if he's going in to fight everybody, I
don't think he's good. I don't think he's coming to fight.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm sure of that he's going to be a moron, like most of the other amazing characters. Like he looks like one of those silly characters who just do behave in a weird way that makes you love them.
Yeah, kind of like Bartolomeo. Or no, who's the admiral with the laser powers?
Borsalino,
yes. I'm a huge fan of him just because he doesn't ever seem to take anything seriously, even though he's one of the most OP characters in the whole series. And I think the bar has been set pretty high for that, and I'm really hoping that this admiral is as quirky, because everything we've seen of him so far, he seems very, very carefree. I think the last time we met him was right before the reverie happened, and he revealed that he hasn't eaten food in 3 years or so.
Yeah, which could be connected to his powers. If he's like a plant man.
Yeah, like photogenesis.
Yeah, and I also saw this morning. There's a theory going on that he is actually on the pirate side.
Who a spy?
There was a fun question in the SBS for an old volume that some guy made a diagram using the names of all the admirals. They're inspired to the legend of Momotaro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the various animals and whatever. And but basically these guys seem to say that some of the admirals were actually on the pirate side. And Oda didn't just publish it. He also, one of his answers when, he's sort of embarrassed, like someone found out about one of his secrets that he doesn't want to answer. So this is sort of also because there was that huge split the 2 years passed on whether to abolish the Shichibukai or not, and some of the admirals were against it. So it's all it's all a big mystery. We will have to find out more about.
I didn't hear about that, so I think that's a great idea, especially because we still had it established in the newest chapter. that Hawkins is dead, Izo is dead, and Ashura is dead, and what's Drake is not confirmed dead. But I almost wonder if maybe that's who the admiral is going to find and speak to first, because that
is this another option that this admiral is just calling for Buster Cole?
Oh,
because
boy.
that's in his powers to do, right?
Oh, well, yeah, if he's got one of those little golden snails.
And the five elders, they were saying how they were ready. So this is another, thing that has to be cleared. They wanted to destroy Wano, but they said, oh no, because the shogun did not open the border, so it's still a natural fortress or whatever. It's still impossible to attack, right? Which tells us two things. One is that opening the borders actually means doing it in a physical way, right? Because that's the whole sense of what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
It means that the big waterfall or whatever, the big cliffs that are protecting Wano, as I think you said that a few episodes ago.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. When we got the diagrams of Kaido and Big Mom's holes, it almost seemed like a whole chunk of Wano could just slide into the ocean. And
so I think that's the meaning. And also, they want to erase Wano. So it means that there is something there that they don't want to come out. Which could just be Nico, Robin, maybe.
Or Joy Boy.
So there is a lot. Still a lot.
Yeah, I don't know, that's kind of, we almost have confirmation that Wano is going to be around in the future, with Oda coming out and saying that Momonosuke is going to be known as one of the greatest shoguns, or one of the greatest rulers of Wano ever. So yeah, I almost wonder if the admiral is going to come in and try to, exploit that and somehow open up Wano by destroying that waterfall, or he's just coming in to get more information and maybe share with them. Maybe this is how we find out everything that happened at the Reverie. Maybe he'll just casually walk up to the Straw Hats and be like, "Hi, good job. By the way, this is everything that we have. Are you going to come and fight us, or are you going to go do this other thing?"
And he's there on his own because the Grand Admiral he was talking with Akainu, right, on the phone, and he was almost telling him to not go there, and instead he's going. So he's acting on his own, which is also interesting, I think.
Very classic with admirals. I love when the admirals just decide, I'm just going to go do this other thing because there's not anything you can do to stop me. So I'm just very curious on that. The World Elders seem dead set on getting Nico Robin. And people online like to say we didn't get any Nico Robin in the newest chapter. So it's kind of mysterious if she is... I don't think she's been kidnapped yet. There's not anybody in Wano that would be able to kidnap her until this admiral shows up, possibly. So
we had that already, so I don't think it's happening again, right?
Right. So it would be kind of weird for them to have a whole nother arc of... I almost hope that's something that Oda is just setting up so people think, oh no, he's not going to do that again. So we're expecting one thing and then something radically different is going to happen. So, So I almost wonder if it's going to seem like Robin's about to get kidnapped and then, things get flipped on their head some way or another. But we just know so little about this new admiral so far that... I'm just incredibly curious to see where it goes from there, or to see really what his plan is. But I think it'd make a lot of sense if he found Drake and talked to Drake, and if that's how it's revealed that he's not necessarily, an evil admiral, say, I mean, I was going to say like a Kainu, but a Kainu's not even fully evil. He's just very different views than most of our main cast.
Absolute justice, believes in absolute justice. Even if that means killing a whole island of innocent people.
Yeah. What's the reminds me of a Peacemaker. There's I'm gonna fight for peace no matter how many men, women, or children I have to kill to get it. Yeah. So another thing that the chapter ended with that the internet always seems to get incredibly excited about, which is just kind of a small interesting thing for me, is the bounties. Man. Yeah. Very excited for that. I think it'd be hilarious if, of course I'm very interested to see what Luffy's new bounty is going to be, because I think Roger had the highest bounty ever, and Kaido was almost there. However, the world government has clearly demonstrated that they have feared the Nika fruit more than anything. Roger never got the Nika fruit, so how crazy would it be if he got a bounty bigger than Roger?
Yeah, I have my title ready for that article.
Oh, really? A Screen Rant exclusive. You heard it here first.
As soon as I can, I will get that out. As soon as I get the relevant information, that's going to be, hopefully.
It's
going to get used.
No break this coming week, so...
But the other big news, of course, is that after this week, we're going to get a 1 month long break.
Yes.
Which is only the second time this happened in 25 years. And the only previous time was for the 2 years time skip, which really tells you everything you need to know, right?
Right.
So that the next saga will be the last. That's official too. Not the last arc, because a saga is made of usually 3-4 arcs, but it's the last one, guys.
Yeah, for context, for fans, I mean, this arc that we just are now finishing, the Emperor's arc, technically started with Punk Hazard, I think. So, how long ago that was? We still have at least that much One Piece in front of us.
No, I think it was shortly after that.
Oh, would you say the Emperor's Saga started with Dressrosa?
I think it was... No, it was later. It was with the arcs are the Zou, whatever you say that, and the Reverie, the Whole Cake, and Wano. These are the 4 arcs in the Emperor's Saga.
All right. See, in my brain, I've always kind of felt like this story has been ongoing since Punk Hazard, because that's when we met Kimamon and Momo. But that's just me personally.
No, but you make a good point, because Punk Hazard is where they made the smiles that Doflamingo sold to Kaido. So they've been following the thread for God, what is like 10 years? Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, just think like what the writer's room was to structure all of these arcs, and that's what they're about to be doing again for this final.
And by the writer's room, I think you mean Oda's very large studio, I guess.
Yeah. I would love to see like a documentary or just a short like tour of like of something like Oda's. I want to say factory, but Oda's studio, because I mean this manga's been going on so long. It's one of the world's most popular. It'd be fascinating to see a day in that. Yeah, I almost wonder. I mean, this final. I have never had a One Piece break like this, so it's pretty exciting. Just as I am more excited than I am depressed that One Piece is ending. Like, I've seen a lot of people pretty bummed out about it, but I mean, for other series that never got an ending, I'm just really happy that the team is getting some time off because they absolutely deserve it. Being a manga artist is very stressful and difficult these days, especially. So they absolutely deserve it. He's also taking some time to travel to Africa to see the live action series.
I think that was cancelled due to COVID, but it was planned. But yeah.
Okay. Well, I think he had plans to travel last year or something. I thought is what I had read. Is he not going to? I thought he. Yeah, I had heard that he was going to be traveling to kind of help oversee the live action series, which I'm pretty excited about. Netflix released a first exclusive preview of some of the sets and concept arts, and those all look fantastic. The creators seem like they're legitimate fans of the series. So I still have some hope for it. We just have not gotten really a single instance of a great live action adaptation of an anime. And One Piece is one of those series.
It's easy to understand, right?
Yes.
It's not the product that's made for live action. That there is no way. I'm sorry, but there is no way this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Literally no way in the world that this is going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, even to the pages I have up right now, I've got the last page of 1052 I'm staring at right now, and just even a couple of these panels would be impossible to do like live action without it looking ridiculous. Like one of the numbers holding Apu, like, oh, first of all, Apu. Like, how could you make Apu in live action without having him look terrifying and weird and just unrealistic? Whole Cake Island is also a whole arc that I could not imagine what that would be like live action.
But I mean, we've all watched, I suppose, Multiverse of Madness, right?
Mm-hmm.
They showed Reed Richards' powers for exactly 2 seconds.
Yeah,
and that's the reason. There's a reason why, because they look ridiculous. Imagine having your main character of a whole show having to do that all the time.
Yeah,
It's just not gonna work. They changed Miss Marvel powers for the Disney TV show exactly for that reason, because they knew it was gonna look terrible on screen. So
you bring up exactly where I was going with that. I was incredibly excited to see a trailer for Miss Marvel, just to see how they're going to do her powers, because it's Marvel. It's one of the biggest entertainment producers out there right now with live action stuff. So of course they have the budget and the resources to do a huge special effect like limbs stretching and stuff like that. And I'm sure that they would consult, people who are really good at making special effects to see how they could do it in the best way. Instead, they decided to completely change the powers to have it be more like a cosmic stretch, translucent sort of thing, an extension of her, I guess. But yeah, same thing with Reed Richards. I was just like, oh my God, like as soon as I saw him on the screen, I was like, are we going to get to see like good stretchy powers? And that was really the main reason I was excited for the One Piece. I thought we were going to get a trailer for the series with Netflix Geeked Week, and we only got a couple concept arts and stuff. But I almost wonder if they're waiting to show what the powers look like because of that. It's just... I can't imagine how they're going to make it look good, but I guess I just have that small bit of hope because I really want it to be good. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it, but I hope they prove me and you wrong, man.
Yeah, same here.
But yeah, back to bounties and the emperors. I think Luffy might have a bigger bounty than ever. I think it's going to be really funny if Kid and Law get the short end of the stick. Like they're Luffy's subordinates or something. I could see that being the headline that they get.
Apu teased that there's going to be new emperors, so I think if not all 3 of them, at least 2 of them.
Well,
between Luffy, Kid, and Law.
One of my favorite
Maybe.
theories about that is it's not going to be Law or Kid. It's going to be Buggy. Because Buggy just has always somehow filled in the gap
Yeah.
that Luffy creates with his shenanigans in another part of the world. So just the idea of Buggy accidentally stumbling into an emperor role would be hilarious. But also in this paper, I mean, it might. We have all the unresolved issues with the warlords that ended up after the Reverie disbanding the warlords thing. So we don't know what's going on with Hawkeye. Hancock had her whole island under siege at the beginning of all this. So I mean, I think it's been pretty well established that Hawkeye is almost Yonko level strong. So I'm curious. I mean, we have to get Zoro versus Hawkeye by the end of this series. So I think Hawkeye is going to be traveling to wherever our heroes are going to be end up going. So if it's all going to collide in Marijois, we don't know. That stack of paper that Apu threw down has lots of information that I'm dying to know. Besides bounties, but
Just a few more days.
yeah, just a few things. But yeah, I feel like we've only scratched the surface of the things to talk about in these chapters. We have the cover stories also. We got the return of the notorious gangster Gaspino as he's watching Germa 66 escape.
Yeah.
So I think that the scientist who failed to escape is the title that they're using for this cover page, which is making me think that he decided to stay on Whole Cake Island, and it was shown that they had crazy amounts of Germa 66's scientific technology. They have like a clone army, like all kinds of crazy stuff, and I almost wonder what Caesar has been up to there. He could literally be up to about anything. But Germa 66 meeting up with Caesar, it's a terrifying combination, really.
Yeah.
And I see that resulting in some bad stuff, but I think Sanji versus his siblings is another rematch I think that we're bound to get, because he was able to hold his own okay, but they were still much more stronger than he was. And now that he's reawakened these powers, I think that there's a lot of narrative goodness that can be explored there now that Sanji has awakened his powers and he's making them his own rather than adapting, to them, which is what he was so afraid of.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see. Maybe it's waiting in the future.
Oh yeah. I mean, they just keep on creating more and more. It's the thing I love about Oda is he's able to tell such a entertaining, funny, drama-filled story, which is all just setting up stuff that's going to pay off even bigger in the future. It's just the amount of planning ahead.
Yeah. So just for one funny thing to close this discussion. And to prove that our robot overlords are always listening to us. Well, since I used Quora, I think once, I keep getting this Quora. Quora? It's the sort of social media / forum where you can ask questions about, basically anything culture related, even pop culture like comics and manga and whatnot, right?
Is it like a new Ask Jeeves?
I don't know. It's just
Ask Jeeves was a popular search engine back in the early days of the internet where you could just ask. It's essentially Google, but you just typed "What is this?" and it would help you with that.
Yeah. So I periodically get emails with popular questions that people ask, right? And right now I just got this one. Can Mihawk defeat Kaido? Which is absolutely great. Well, not crazy because it's pretty well established that someone's listening.
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah, I think that would be a great fight. I don't know if there's a clear winner. I mean, it's just been established that Zoro is getting up to that level.
Yeah, we know nothing really about Mihawk, basically.
Yeah, because almost half of his stuff has been in non-canon like movies. I like to think of him in Stampede when he just cuts, I think, 2 meteors in half. But that was all non-canon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that's the thing is we've been even with Odin's ridiculously powerful sword, which at that point Zoro hadn't fully mastered. He was able to use it without it totally draining his energy, but he was able to do considerable damage to Kaido. I don't know. I think that would be a very fun fight to see, but I would almost say that I'd put my money on Mihawk possibly being able to beat Kaido, but that I could be very wrong there. But anything else in these chapters, man, that really stood out for you that you wanted to talk about?
I want to talk about how great it is that every time there is this, break after a fight, you get that you love it as a reader. You get the sense of relief and joy for the characters. But I think we should discuss this next time when we will have the actual, party and all the celebration and everything. So we can leave that for our next discussion, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and maybe we'll get Ben and we'll see if we can get any other guests in to talk about it. But yeah, I feel like we already have a lot to talk about, and we're going to be getting even more to talk about after these next. You said we have 1 or 2 chapters left until break.
I think one. I don't remember if it's 1 or 2.
Well, yeah. Either way, we'll have more to talk about on Mega Manga Mondays for One Piece. Chapter 1053 when that comes out next week. Very excited to talk about it with you already. Yeah, I'll be reading the fan subs as soon as they become available too. But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up this conversation, and we'll save up some more for next time. But definitely check out Mega Manga Mondays if you're into series like Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, Boruto, Dragon Ball Super. We've got all kinds of discussions for you to listen to. Find us on Spotify and YouTube. I also do Jason Hahn. Also, we write on Screen Rant and would love you to check out screenrant.com for video game news, comics section, or comic news and movie news. Very introspective, interesting articles about different manga series that you might be into. But Francesco, any recommendations or plugs, bud?
Not really. I haven't done much reading recently, but I will catch up next time.
Yeah,
I promise.
Sounds good, man. Well, yeah, we'll go and wrap up this one, but look forward to future episodes of Mega Manga Monday, and I hope you guys had a good one. Or have a good one.
Bye, everyone.